Thanks again for joining us for Coffee with the Candidates. We have Lauren Nelson with us here today. She is a candidate for the um, South Dakota Senate, and her Democratic opponent is Sarah Sarda. So Lauren, as a Republican, made it through the primary and is joining us for her second session of Coffee with the Candidates. So once again, will you go ahead and introduce yourself to the viewing audience?
Yes, I am the Republican candidate for state senate, having run and won the primary in June. I am married to David. We've been married for 30 years. We farm north of Yankton. On that farm, we have raised 3 children. They're adult children out of the house, empty nesters for the first time. So my children are Mary, Beatrice, and Frederick. I serve the community by serving on the Planning and Zoning Board here in the county of Yankton. And through that, I have been able to serve on the wind and solar task forces here as well. I'm the treasurer of the Yankton County Sharpshooters, which I've held for a couple years now. I should probably go back and say what I do for a living. I have been a teacher for 20 years. I have been a teacher in the public school system. I have been a teacher in the private school setting. I've also homeschooled as well. I received my Bachelor of Science from Dakota State University. I have a double major in elementary education and special education. And I also have my master's in educational administration from the University of South Dakota. As a Jackrabbits fan, I don't say that very loudly, but I will say very, very, very good program that I went through to receive that. And I hope on November 5th that the voters of District 18 will give me the opportunity to be their state senator.
So please share how your views align with the Democratic Party or the Republican Party.
Well, obviously, since I am the Republican nominee for state senate, that my views align closely with the South Dakota Republican Party platform. But it's also important to keep in mind, too, that as the lone voice in the state senate for District 18, that it's my duty, my obligation, it's my responsibility to listen to everybody, no matter what party affiliation they may be, whether they are nonpartisan, whether they are an independent, or maybe not even registered to vote. I think it's important. It's as a representative, it's our duty to represent everybody in the district.
So with South Dakota being a state that is funded primarily on property tax and sales tax, how do we continue to raise enough money for our state government to run effectively and create a prosperous environment for development?
Ooh, I'm gonna take that question and divide it probably into 3 parts, because I want to address 3 things with that question. The first one is talking about having enough money. Going through the primary and talking to voters from District 18, it's very clear that many in District 18 believe that they are giving enough of their own money in taxes to the state. And so I think we need to look at cutting taxes. We need to look at cutting spending in peer, especially for those individuals. I mean, it's one thing to talk to people who are on a fixed income and listen to their stories and hear them talk about, they've worked all their lives to have a home to retire in, and now they feel like they're being taxed, out of those homes. The second part is, talking about running effectively. I question that in the fact that just recently this summer, we now have 3 cases of people that have embezzled money from the state, with one of them being $1.8 million. I mean, that's the taxpayers' money, and we will not see that money back. That money is stolen, it is gone. And so my concern is peer gotten so bloated and so big that we are unable to track where the money's being spent, where is the money going. And especially with that $1.8 million case, that money was supposed to go to children in our state, and instead it was stolen. Another thing too is the fact that we have so many state workers. I have many friends who are state workers. They go to work every day. They do a fantastic job for the people of South Dakota. And when you have those bad apples that come in and do things like that, it really just puts a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, which is not necessary for those that are, doing their job each and every day. The last part, talking about a prosperous environment. it's the role of government to cut taxes, reduce regulation, and then get out of the way of the innovative, creative people of the state, of District 18, and allow them to, run their businesses, start their businesses, create jobs, pay wages, and most importantly, those profits that those businesses make are going to stay here in District 18, are going to stay here in the state.
So what are your views on funding the public education system in South Dakota? What will help our kids in South Dakota be prepared for post-high school options?
If I forget the second part, remind me when I get started here, because that happens, I forget the second part. The state constitution is very clear. We have to provide a uniform system of education that is open to all and is tuition free. The thing about it is, when a funding bill comes before me as state senator, there are two questions that I'm going to ask. The first question is, how will this affect or how will this benefit the student? And the second question I will ask is, how will this affect or how will this benefit the teacher who's teaching that student? To me, those are the two most important entities in our educational system, the student, and the teacher. And if I don't see a positive direct correlation between that bill and those two entities, I will have my doubts, about that bill. Also, too, talking with teachers, any bill that comes forward that is putting more requirements or more duties on our classroom teachers, I will not support. Our teachers have so much on their plates that they're dealing with now in our schools that they don't need peer putting more on their plate.
So do you think there maybe be an opportunity to take some things off their plate
Oh.
if there are some really good things that need to be added?
That's the thing. If you want to take some things off their plate and put some, that's fine. But I listening to teachers, I have friends who are teachers, I have relatives that are teachers here in the state. And especially with the start of the school year and listening to, they get their classrooms, they get the dynamics of their kids and stuff. And, some of the things that they are required to do and have to deal with now. I'm going to go back to Ed Psych 101 for teachers. It's that Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And I remember sitting in Dr. Oz's class at Dakota State and learning this, and that's the first thing that we learned. If kids don't have those first three levels of feeling safe, feeling secure, having their food, their basic needs, feeling loved, you can't teach them 1 + 1 is 2. You can't teach them that A² + B² = C². And so there's a lot of things that our teachers are dealing with that aren't even necessarily educational. The classroom work that they're dealing with. And so we have to make sure that we are giving them the resources, the tools that they need to meet the needs of those kids coming in their classroom.
All right, so let's go to the second part of that
Yes,
question that
'cause I
I'm
told you I
reminding
was
you
gonna
about
forget.
is the post-high school, being prepared for post-high school options.
Yeah, simply, is to, every school district needs to say, this is what we want our graduate to look like when they leave Yankton, Erie-Wakanda, Gay-Vavon, wherever it may be, Scotland, wherever it may be, and then challenging those kids to reach those goals, setting those expectations to those students, making sure the teachers have the resources, that they need to help those kids achieve that. And also to, talking with teachers, talking with administrators, is engaging the people around these students. Their families, of course, parents, churches, engaging business owners in our community. And then the last component, I was just thinking about this the other day, because I saw the notice about the retired teachers meeting. They meet every month. And I thought, we have a wealth of retired people in this community, that the knowledge that they have, the expertise, how can we engage those people as well to help achieve these goals? What do we want our students to look like when they leave the 12th grade? And engaging all these people to help in that. So it's not just the school, doing it, and if they fail or if they're not quite achieving, saying, oh, it's the school's fault. No, let's all come together and try to achieve those goals that we have set for our kids.
So property rights has been a big topic in the past few years. Explain your views on property rights.
It's the reason why I'm here. It's the reason why I'm running. When SB 201 was passed here this spring, I was compelled, I was called to run for this position. Property rights to me are sacred. It's in our Bill of Rights. It's in our Constitution, and I think Pierre needs to do whatever possible and at all costs to protect those property rights that we have. And the thing about it too is the fact that people think that property rights just means land. Anything you own is your property. And I'm even thinking of, you know, your intellectual property rights as well, people that are creative. You know, that's your property. And if any of those are in jeopardy of being taken away, you know, who's to say the rest can't be taken away? And so it's very important that we protect our property rights and any property that we own.
How do you intend to work with those who have different views from you?
What's interesting is that came up last night at the planning and zoning meeting. I had an individual who I know came up to me and we were talking and it was fun because I said to him, I said, we agree on so much, but there's certain things there's one thing for sure here we don't agree upon. And that's the thing, is the fact that you may disagree on a topic, so you listen to each other, and I would listen to somebody, disagree respectfully, don't attack them, don't say anything negative, just simply disagree and go on. Because down the road, you may find that there is something that you do agree upon that would benefit the state, benefit District 18, and you need to work together. And so if you're not working together on something else, the odds of you working together on something you do agree upon may not happen, or it may not go well. And so it's very important. It's what I teach my students. You got to get along, and respect each other. So we need to do that.
So what are your strategies to fill the thousands of jobs available in South Dakota so our companies can continue to expand and flourish?
Again, I don't think it's the government's job to fill jobs that are out there. Again, I think going back to your previous question about creating a prosperous environment, I think that's what the government's role is to do, is to create an environment where people want to come to live in South Dakota and work, or they want to stay in South Dakota and work. Again, cutting taxes so that when people do come, we're not taking all the money, out of their pocket. Also, too, is creating those quality of life issues that people look towards. Engaging our business owners in having them, donate and get involved and help build those things that families are looking for. Again, my previous question, K-12 education, helping with that, because that's what families look for, especially young families are looking for a good K-12 educational system, plus a good educational system prepare kids for those jobs. I think a beautiful example is the soccer fields north of Walmart. What a beautiful, when you come in from the north, you have that beautiful facility, there, and you look at all the people that came together to get that job done. And I think that's what the key is, engaging everybody to come together and to create those things that we want for our community.
So what topics need to be addressed to support agriculture in South Dakota, which I'm sure is something close to your heart?
It is. And the thing about it is, when you go around and I do have a picnic next week with a bunch of farmers, so we'll see what they talk about. But right now, commodity prices is the hot topic, and there's not really anything, statewide that we can do, possibly nationally, open markets for our commodity, or for our grains and things across the world. But as far as statewide, I'm going to go back to property rights, making sure that farmers who own land, that's their business, that's how they make their money, making sure that's secure. Property taxes, going back to what we heard during the primary season, taxes are getting pretty crazy and are concerning to our farmers. Looking at the EID program, electronic ID on cattle, livestock. Again, many farmers believe that's an invasion of privacy by the government. They can track their animals and where they go. And also, too, it's a cost to our farmers. It's also, time is money. You always hear that time is money. And it's, again, something they'll have to do, see that's done. And again, it takes time and takes away from other things that they could be doing. I go back to country of origin labeling, making sure that anything that's labeled South Dakota, made in South Dakota, or produced in South Dakota or the United States is exactly that it's not grown somewhere else and then it's processed here, or vice versa. So making sure that is accurate. And again, foreign owned food processing facilities that we have in our nation. We have our livestock producers that are producing our cattle, our hogs, our sheep, and then to go to slaughter, they go to a foreign-owned company to be done. And again, for me, that's a national security concern, in the fact that our food is being processed by a foreign entity, but also too, the profits, where all the money is made, is going to a foreign country. It's going out of our country. And then I think for farmers, just looking at farming, many of our farmers are at retirement age, or they're getting there, or past even. I know there's some farmers that will probably keep farming until the good Lord takes them home. And so that concern there is, who's going to take their place? Who is going to be producing our food 20, 30, 40 years from now? And I think if there's anything that we can do as a state government to encourage young men and young women to get into farming, get into the livestock production, or to help those young men and women who may have a family farm, how can we help them to take over that family farm from their relatives?
So, if elected, how will you prepare for the 2025 legislative session, and how do you want to receive input from the voters of District 18?
After going through the primary season election, there are 5 individuals who I interacted with from District 18 who I got to get a sense of what's going on in their lives, whether it be business or what they may be doing, and it really piqued my interest in what's going on and their concerns. And so I've committed, I'm gonna go back on November 6th, and I'm going to visit with these people and dig deeper, because I truly believe that as their state senator, I can help them in Pierre alleviate the concerns and issues that they are dealing with. So these 5 people, and the thing about it is I haven't gone through the general yet. We're just getting started. So there might be 5 more people. And so I might have to take a couple days to get through all those people. I'll call up fellow legislators who are just newly elected as well, and see what they have on their agenda for the winter session in Pierre. And the thing about it is and this is kind of even shocking to me, I didn't realize this, is the fact that, we're elected on November 5th. There is elections for the leadership of the House and Senate that week. So it's like you get elected and boom, you are in Pierre. And so there's that time to plan and prep, and I know the State of the Union address is in December. And so to plan, to prepare, not much. You go for it. But I do know that next day on my list so far, I have 5 people that I'm going to track back to, and I'm going to sit down and really talk to them.
Why should the voters check the box by your name on the ballot?
Well, when I read that question, the thing about it is I said, you got to color in your oval next to your name. But, thinking about that, first of all, no one will work harder for the people of District 18 than I will in Pierre for them. I'm a teacher, so I listen. So I will listen to the people of District 18, and then also to. No, I will fight fearlessly. I will be a fearless fighter in Pierre for the people of District 18. And going back to your previous question, I forgot to answer the second part of that question.
I should have followed up on that. Yes.
When you said to listen, and going back to that question, any way possible. That's the key. Is that's what I want to do. I want to listen to the people, all the people of District 18. So if you want to send me a text message, if you want to send me an email, if people aren't comfortable, because there are quite a few that aren't comfortable with that, call me. Even the United States Postal Service, send a letter, write a letter out, and send it to me. And then I even say this, in the fact that if I'm in Hy-Vee, if I'm in the post office, if I'm in Ace Hardware, and you see me, and you have something that's on your mind, something that's concerning you, stop me. I'm very approachable, and just stop me and tell me what's going on, or what's concerning you, what's going on in Pierre. One of my main objectives as state senator is to make sure that the people of District 18 know what's going on in Pierre. That's one thing that I heard a lot during the primary. Well, I don't know what's going on in Pierre. Well, I want to change that. We have such an ease of communicating now between Facebook, Instagram, not X, X, Twitter, what it used to be. And so I think we need to use that technology to let people know what is going on in Pierre.
So are there any topics we didn't cover today in any of these previous questions that you would like to share with the viewing audience?
Not really a topic. Just to say that even a couple months after the June primary, I'm still kind of pinch myself once in a while to say, yes, I am the Republican candidate for District 18, and I am very humbled by that honor that the people of this district gave me. I have had a wonderful summer attending celebrations, going to parades, been a wonderful time. And I just want to encourage, I'm looking forward to meeting more people during this general election. That's one thing about this campaign that I've really enjoyed, but during the primary, is talking with people and meeting them and listening to them. And so I just want to encourage everybody, get out there and vote. Sometimes people think that my vote doesn't count, or why does it matter? But it does. It really does matter. And I'm really looking forward to November 5th, and really looking forward to what the people of District 18 have to say, and kind of sort of determine what the next direction of my life is on November 6th. So looking forward to it.
And as a reminder, absentee voting starts September 20th, and there's information on the Secretary of State's website as well as yanktonsd.com. And once we get past the elections, also look out for our Cracker Barrels that will be hosting another informational session, so we can stay in contact with those that are elected by, as you are correct, filling in the oval, not technically checking the box on the ballot as you vote in person, if you choose to do that on November 5th. Lauren, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.